Okay, and we're wrapping up with video testimonies of this unclean darkness spirit.
I see this solid, dark figure walking backwards on the balcony. I don't know what this is, but it's not us.
And another.
Hi, I'm John. It's day 10, 12:03 a.m. Still nothing happened.
So what you're seeing is the black mist, the black darkness spirit, the unclean darkness spirit, is filling up in the pantry. Then it extends his arms out right here. Okay, so this correlates to the video testimony we saw, where we saw the darkness spirit fall through the floor, and we're seeing it this way fall again through the pantry floor. Let's watch again.
It's day 12.
And it falls through the floor.
Let's get out of here. Let's get out of here. Go, go. For years.
Okay, in this one right here, we see the spirits acting as a child. These unclean darkness spirits can seem like they have a servant darkness spirits that's under them, that's subject to their authority. And sometimes they're categorized as kids or something like that. They play the child role, but what it is that it's a darkness spirit that's subservient to the more adult darkness spirit. But they're both of the same category. Let's watch. Okay, so what you just saw was that unclean darkness spirit is the form of a child, not the form of a child, but the more lower level subservient role. Let's move into it again. Okay, so here it is, a more smaller, shorter version of the adult darkness spirit that's commonly seen. But this one is subservient to the other. because there is a ranking structure among them. There are masters and there are servants within the demonic world, and this right here is one of them. They play the role of a child, and they perpetuate this idea, or they deceive folks into thinking that they're kids, but they're not. They're just more of the lower level or servant role, unclean darkness spirit that serves its master, the more adult one. All right, let's move on. Okay, moving on. This is the adult unclean darkness spirit, the one that is master to the childlike unclean darkness spirit. What you will also see in this one is the descriptions that people describe as it putting on a hat, or it has a top hat. Ladies and gentlemen, you must understand that these unclean spirits do not wear hats, because it's not like they're scared of the sunlight, or it's not like there's an apparel in the demonic world where they can pick out top hats. It's not that. What they do is they're imitating what they've seen within our culture, within wardrobes of human beings, and dating it back to an era that people would think that they're a dead person from that era. So while you may see, or to an unbeliever, they will see one of these unclean darkness spirits, see that it puts on a hat, or see that it's wearing a top hat, then the person who's an unbeliever or ignorant of the scriptures will think that this person must have come from a time period where the top hats was worn. So then you start chasing forever, trying to track down who this person can be, and trying to find a photo. Oh, this is the person who's wearing the top hat. This must be the ghost. So you got to understand how they're portraying themselves. They're only portraying themselves in a deceptive mean by shapeshift. Remember, they can shapeshift to whatever they want. So they wear the top hats only as a tool to fuel a deceptive idea that a person can get from that, and to lead them on to a wild goose chase. In the meantime, you end up getting an enormous obsession about them, which is what they want. They want you to be so obsessed in tracking them down and chasing them down with no clue, no real true information from what they are, or who they really are, what their agenda is. But let's watch. This is the unclean adult darkness spirit. Okay, right now it's sitting on a chair, and what you will see it do, it'll stand up on the chair. So watch. Okay, there it is right now, standing on the chair. Okay, and there you see it looks like it's putting on a top hat, right? So a person like, oh, it's wearing a top hat, it's wearing that. What in the world does it need a hat for? I mean, just logically ask yourself, what does it need a hat for? It's in the house. There's no sun. And it's not like it's going to dinner, right? So when you ask yourself these logical questions, it makes sense. But when you start being obsessed by it, and when you believe in what it's appearing as, you start to get sucked into its lies and its deceit. But it's nothing more than a form of deception to get a person running around and to trying to figure out what it is based off this quote clue that it's wearing a top hat. But it's clearly not it. They just want you to think that they're human, and they're not. So there it is right now, with his head looking down and walking out the frame. Followed by another one. Okay, continuing on. You're going to have to turn your volume up for this one because it took me forever to find this video, but I've seen it before and I was trying to find it on YouTube to bring it, to add it to this presentation. So turn your volumes up because it's the only one I found. But okay, so this again is the unclean darkness spirits, the more adult version of it. And again, you see that it started appearing after the mother of the deceased, the deceased mother of the husband gave him an antique. And that goes back to other Bible studies where I said, beware of taking objects associated to the dead or cults or magic or anything that's not of God that comes from that's a derivative of some type of religious uh, artifact. Be careful of those things because spirits can take hold of them. But let's move on. And even these darkness spirits are known as the shadow people.
From time to time, I have been seeing shadow people in my life, and I've kind of associated them with death. Because every time I see the shadow people, then someone I know died. The first time I saw the shadow people is when my dog died. I saw a small shadow of a little black dog, of a shadow of a dog. Like, it sort of like obscures your view, and when it does, it creates this darkness where you can't really see anything inside of it, or like this void or whatever. And I've even had one of those standing over me while I was sleeping one night. Kind of like looked up a little bit, this strange creature with this tiny, small, square, geometrical head and shoulders, very broad shoulders, and very, very, very tiny little entity at the bottom, but he was very tall. And he stood over me as if though he was curious. It was this creepy feeling. It was like he was just as much interested in what the hell I was as I was what the hell he was. And it was just crazy, you know.
Okay, so that pretty much wraps it up. I've showed you everything I've seen about these unclean darkness spirits, aka shadow people. And if you've seen them too, understand that you're being possessed, your home is being possessed by demonic force. These spirits are very possessive and aggressive, and they're curious about us because they don't understand why we receive redemption and they haven't. So they're full of lies and deceit and very evil. So call upon the name of Christ to get rid of them. Accept him as your Lord and Savior, and he will give you the authority to rebuke them. And I love you all. Comment or leave any questions and I'll get back to you. God bless.
Hi, I'm John. It's day 10, 12:03 a.m. Still nothing happened.
So what you're seeing is the black mist, the black darkness spirit, the unclean darkness spirit, is filling up in the pantry. Then he extends his arms out right here. Okay, so this it correlates to the video testimony we saw, where we saw the darkness spirit fall through the floor, and we're seeing it this way fall again through the pantry floor. Let's watch again.
Whoa.
Okay, and we're wrapping up with video testimonies of this unclean darkness spirit.
I see this solid, dark figure walking backwards on the balcony. I don't know what this is, but it's not us. There's other.
And another. And falls through the floor.